to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday, and I'm happy to tell you I have Claire Jefford on the show with me today. And if you are in Claire Jefford's Facebook group, if you're a designer that is lucky enough to be in the Facebook group Interior Design Business Strategies, you just started doing your happy dance, I know. And by the way, if you are a legitimate interior designer listening to the show, you can join her Facebook group. Just head over to Facebook, and it's Interior Design Business Strategies. Now, who's Claire Jefford? First of all, Claire was on this podcast, episode 237, and we talked about how to create video content for your interior design firm. And now Claire is back because Claire is going to talk with us today about why you should create content for your interior design firm and how to do it. Not just video content, but courses and booklets and ebooks and things like that your clients want and will pay you to design. Okay. So Claire Jefford, if you're unfamiliar with her, started her interior decorating business in 2011. She specializes in 3D design as well as custom residential projects. She has a terrific eye for detail and she loves to mix patterns and fabrics. Her company was named one of the top 30 interior design firms in Ontario in 2017. And Claire is especially proud that she is the highest reviewed design professional in the Greater Toronto area on Houzz. She has over 90 reviews on Houzz. Okay, now, if you know Claire, you know she's not one to shy away from social media. She has been creating videos on Facebook since 2013, and she began her own YouTube channel in January of 2016. Okay, so the other thing about Claire is that she has another side hustle, which is a second business coaching and helping interior designers learn how to run their businesses more efficiently. Okay, she goes through process. That's, I would say, her superpower is process and really helping you map that out with a close second to social media strategies. These are the two things that Claire really excels at. She has a bundle that's available for you as interior designers if you're interested. It's called Rock the Consult, a starter pack, and the letter of agreement. This is a perfect deal if you are an interior designer who is struggling to get organized, or if you're an interior designer who would love to feel more confident on your initial consult. So you can find these at clairejefford.com and go to her shop page. Okay. Now, if you are listening in real time, this is airing on Friday, May 18th, 2018. Claire is hosting a special flash sale of some of the different products and services that she sells on her website. This is to her coaching clients, okay? So this is for business opportunities, business processes for you to take advantage of. And this weekend is the 20th anniversary of the weekend that she met her husband, Chris, who happens to be an awesome guy. I've met him and spent time with him. So in honor of that, May 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st, Claire is offering specials and sales on some of the products and services that she has there for you to help you get your business organized. Okay, so take advantage of that, clairejefford.com, and go to the shop tab. Okay, let's just get into this interview with Claire. I'm excited to have her explain to you and get you excited about maybe possibly creating some of your own content to sell to your retail consumers. Hey, Claire, thanks so much for joining me on Power Talk Friday.
Hi, Luann. Thanks for having me again.
I know. You're Claire. I love having you on the show because one thing, I love talking with you. You're my buddy. The other thing, I know it's going to be a good show. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So when you invite people that you don't know on the show, until I do the recording with them, I'm like, is this going to be good? Is this going to be
Right.
good? I hope it's good. But when you're on the show, I know it's going to be good. So I'm
Oh, thanks. Thanks. You just have to make sure I don't go on too long. You know what I'm like.
We both have a tendency there. We have to
Yeah,
learn.
that's true.
Claire, tell me, we are going to talk about how to create products, courses,
Yes.
things that designers can sell on their website to consumers, right?
Yes.
You're going to take us through what this looks like, how to do it, why we should do it, and some of these steps. So where do we start with, Claire?
So basically, I just want to really touch on first, Lynn, if I can, is, a product, creating your own product versus an affiliate link, just for those who may not be familiar with or thinking, why don't I just do affiliate links? So my view is on that, and I totally know that, you can make money through affiliate links, but when you create your own product, you do a couple of things. One, you create, more of a trust with your audience because you're creating something that you made especially for them and that you know that they needed. But also, you are reaping 100% of the benefits of that. So when you're doing an affiliate link, and I'll just say when I was on Amazon, I spent like a day setting up my Amazon account, and then I said, it's adding in all of these, headsets, and people always ask me about my video gear. So I thought, oh well, I'll set all this up and forget it. In 3 months, I made $12.27. Amazon said, we're shutting your account down.
Yeah.
And I was like, fine, because you know what?
Yeah.
It's not even worth it at this point. You really have to have quite a large audience to make affiliate marketing worthwhile, in my opinion. So I'm a real advocate of, create your own product, figure it out what it is that your audience is looking for, which we're going to talk about today, and roll with that. It's more work. But if you until you get like high numbers and traction to your website, there's no point. You're going to make like $50 in a month. It's not worth it.
Well, and the point of it is that not many of us are looking for our retail businesses. So interior designers through their interior design firm, or like us through WindowWorks, I'm not looking at ever making that a website that, it gets 10,000 unique views in a day, week, month, or half a year, or a year even. I don't need 10,000 unique views to my WindowWorks website over the course of an entire year for WindowWorks to make money, right?
That's a very good point.
We're driving consumers to our website so that they get there and they want to do business with us as an interior designer or window treatment person.
Right.
So to think that we are going to get enough traffic to support a 50-cent or a $3 or $5 commission on an item is not realistic, as you said. And the other thing is the other way to do it is if you had a large email list, right? So you might be not getting a billion views to your website, but maybe you have an email list. But again, unless that email list is 8, 10, 15, 20,000.
Yeah. And engage and opening, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the thing is that it's a great model if your goal, like we have Laurel Byrne in common, right? She's a friend of both of ours, right? Yeah. She gets thousands of views. Her whole business model now is
500,000 actually every month, right?
500,000 a month. Oh my goodness. Yes. I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, her whole business model has shifted where she does is she writes interior design content.
Yes.
For people to come and consume. She's not any longer just getting you there to look at the pretty drapes that she designed.
That's her full-time gig now, right? That's what she's doing full-time. So yes, and of course, if you want to go that way, absolutely, that's when affiliates is going to, once you built your SEO, you built your site, you built your audience, then yes, by all means, do the affiliate links. I just think that, really, I think creating a product, I'm going to tell you how good that can work for you.
Right.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah. And I want to share the distinction that you're also trying to point out here is that if you take the time to create a product that you're selling on the website, if the product is $50 or $300, now if you only sell 4 in a month, well, you know what? $1,200 for something that you created. Maybe it took you a day or it took you 3 days. But if you made sold 3 or 4 a month and made $1,200 a month at $300 a pop.
Yeah.
Now we've got a different thing going on. The point is you don't need as many numbers
Yes.
to your website to make
right.
it worth your time doing it. And that's
Absolutely.
your initial premise. So both are valid business models, but be
For
clear
sure.
on which is your business model before you figure out what you're going to do. It's like we always say, what's your why, right?
What's your why? Yeah.
What's your why? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Say we are an interior designer that feels like, look, I've got some content that I like to share and I think it's valuable and I think I could monetize it. Maybe I know how to style bookshelves, or I know how to do this, or I know how to, decide how big an area rug should be.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. We're talking about things that designers know based on their training, their experience, their education, that they can quantify and put into a product that a consumer can buy from their website.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Take us away.
For
Take
sure.
us away.
Thank you. So the first thing I would say is, have an audience, which we're kind of just talking about, right? So if you don't have, a lot of people coming to your website, or I say a lot of people, like it doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands or 20s of thousands, tens of thousands, but have an audience, and before you would create a product, I would say, you want to have, numbers have been said 3,000 before, but even if you have 1,000 people on your email list and people that are coming to your site regularly, it doesn't have to be massive amounts generally, but if you have 100, I wouldn't yet waste your time. I would work on building your audience, right?
Right.
And creating the consistent content. Right. Exactly. And the other thing is know your audience. So really, some people think, well, what can I create? What is it that I need? So what I like to do is, because I have the Facebook group, that's a really good place to either poll, your audience. You can ask some questions. If you have your email list, which everyone should be building their email list. So even if I have someone on the phone, I'll say, even if they don't book through to a consult, or if they might be thinking about it, I'll say, hey, do you mind if I just put you on my email list? I send out once a month and nothing spammy. And, people be like, not many people say no, because they're like, okay, sure. Right. So again, you're just slowly building that. But, you can send an email out to your audience. One that I have that goes out on my Claire Jefford one is the third email I send out is, share with me, what are you struggling with right now? And then, designers tell me what they're struggling with. And then that is a great opportunity to create content, whether it's for my videos or blog posts, or later on down the line, different products that, if it's substantial enough and it kind of keeps repeating itself, right? So I think that's a really good thing to think about too, where if let's say that you're with a client and let's just say the clients, they're not sure if they want to move forward from the initial consultation meeting. Maybe if you're kind of seeing that as a little bit of a pattern with some homeowners, maybe you could think, what is it that maybe they're holding back on? Maybe they're not ready to invest yet. Is there something then that you could create? And again, this is going to depend on your business model. If you're a high luxury and designer, this is not probably going to be something you want to do.
You probably don't need to sell $50.
Right. That's right. That's right. Right. But if you think like, what, there's some clients who, they, a lot of times we do a concept design for clients. That's the 3D design. And we're not necessarily specifying, finishes at that point, but we say that's another service that we could offer. And, here's our day rate, and here's what we kind of do within that time, but, I could now kind of talking out loud going, I could actually do what I'm saying for my interior design business. And I could create like, here's a step-by-step on what you should choose first. For example, if you're renovating, because so many people want to start with the paint, right? The paint the walls. Or I had someone say, well, the kitchen cabinet company said I need to use, one of these 2 creams, but I'm like, but have you chosen the countertop yet? And they're like, well, no. I'm like, you're painting yourself. Don't just use that pun, but you're into a corner. If you're going to start by using a paint color or a cabinetry color, you really want to start with the fixed elements first, which is the countertop, the backsplash,
the things that can't be changed easily. Paint can be changed really easily.
Yeah, right. But I mean, for us, we know that, but for the average homeowner, they don't,
no.
Right? So, even creating something like that, where you can say, here's a step-by-step, or, maybe they want to, redesign their room, and you've come in, you've given them a lot of great ideas, but maybe they're just like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm ready for custom or if I'm ready to go fully on board.
Right.
So you could say, well, you know what, I actually have this step-by-step how to design a room and how to decorate a room. I mean, you don't want to talk yourself out of a job. I mean, that's the other thing, right? But I'm just saying, if you see opportunities and it could just be another string to your bow, and then within that actual, guide that you create, or the process step by step that you create. So let's say, for example, you talk to them about how to measure a room. And you talk about, the windows and the wall to wall. Because again, a lot of people don't
They don't
realize
know
what
it.
steps are involved. Like, what they just go and buy a sofa and then they get it delivered and go, oh, it's kind of big for the space.
Yeah. Or how about I can't even get it through the front door or around the
Oh my
staircase
gosh,
bends.
right? Right? So those are all little tips that you could put into your guide, right?
Right.
You know, and yeah, and then the other thing is too, let's just, I know we just kind of poo-pooed on affiliates, but if you wanted to, you could, if you wanted to sell a laser measure or a measuring tape or certain, you could layer that into your guide, and they could be affiliate links. But again, at this point, I wouldn't get too carried away with that until you start selling, a ton of guides, right?
Right. Yeah. So the thing is, now, if you're out there and you're thinking about this, there has to be a way that you are already having some engagement from the consumers. So whether you've got a Facebook group for your business and you've been putting videos in there and you've got some engagement from them, or you do have an email sequence already set up, then that would be something. I know that we did a whole series. We did 2 shows on setting up an email sequence and an email funnel with Kae Whitaker.
Right.
So I'll make sure that I mention, put that show episode in the introduction. I'm writing myself a note. So the thing is, it's there has to be some way of getting them in. That's not what we're talking now. We're talking about once they're in, this is the type of product that you're going to put out there.
Yes.
So these are your ideas. And I'm sure you listened to Wendy Wallachuk's show where she's creating these right in my Doma studio. She's the guest bedroom package, the breezy bedroom package, the Tuscan bedroom package.
Exactly.
She creates it all there in my Doma, puts all the links in, puts everything in, and people buy it while she's sleeping.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And yes, that's the point is, to also make sure that you're, you don't want to just be starting a blog and going, okay, what can I sell? I mean, you have to build trust with people. I mean, it's like anything, you have to build trust. People have to come to your site. They have to see what you're doing, or they have you in your home, and then, that sort of thing. So it is a pro. It's not just like, hey, I want to create something and I'm going to sell it in a week. Like, no, you have to create that trust for sure. 100%. But yeah, that's a perfect example of having, sell a room, a coastal room design, or, like you said, Wendy has those things in my Doma. So that is, a great idea. And then they can buy it right through there, right? They can buy it right through there as well.
Yep.
So those are, so if you're kind of not sure on, what is it that I can create, it's a matter of figuring out what is it that your audience is struggling with, what are the pain points that your audience has, and, what are your frequently asked questions maybe sometimes as well, right?
Right.
So it's always good to go through, like you said, like how to choose an area rug, and maybe you put together a whole package of that, with how to choose an area rug and how to know what style of window treatment to use for your room. And the other thing just to mention as well, Luann, is that these aren't necessarily things people might be saying, well, you can find this stuff out online. You can figure this out. You can go here, there, and, this information is for free. But when you build your audience, and when someone really, when they trust you, and you've gone into a client's home, they're going to be more willing to, listen to what you have to say, because you've been giving so much great information either on your blog or, as I said, in the consultation. So yeah, it's true. We can all find everything we really pretty much want on the internet. But the nice idea is that if they have it from someone that A, that they trust, and B, also it's all in one place, right? So you don't have to Google this for that and watch that video for this and go to the store to pick up that. It's all, because we all want to save time. That's what save time and money. That's two of the biggest things, right? So so if you're not sure, those are some great things. You could survey your audience with like a Survey Monkey and ask them, what is it that you're interested in, that, what is it that you're struggling with? And yeah, if you have a Facebook group, of course, that's a great one as well, for sure.
And that the least common denominator is if you don't have any of these things in place and you're committed to building something, you just like think about what happens in your consultation. Mm-hmm. What are the questions that you are asked over and over again? These are the things that people want to know. So
exactly.
And I also just want to say here that when you brainstorm these ideas for yourself, would you agree with this, Claire, that some of the ideas that you come up with are going to be things that you probably can and should create, but should be offering for free?
Yes,
right?
for sure.
You're not charging $10 for every stupid little thing that you think of,
No,
right? Like you
no.
want to, if there's a process video on, maybe the giveaway is how to figure out the size that an area rug should be. Maybe that's
Right.
a 3-minute video that's a giveaway,
Yeah,
right?
maybe that's
But
your
then
opt-in, right? To get people on your
Right.
list.
But right,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's good. But then the longer is the actual 10 steps to designing a room, do it yourself, whatever.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, some stuff again, like you said, like we know we're giving away, we give stuff away for free all the time. I love sharing and we talk a lot, both you and I, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so there is going to be some stuff, but then there are some things, let's just say, for example, so my letter of agreement was my very first product that I put up for sale through my clairejefford.com, because I was seeing in the group a lot of people asking about letter of agreement. And it is a contract. It's a little bit something that people aren't necessarily just like, oh, here's mine. And because it's also a contract, you have to be very careful with it. Like mine, I've had reviewed by a lawyer. I have a disclaimer when people buy it that says, you should still get this checked out by a lawyer in your area. Some people are buying it in Australia. I'm in Ontario, right?
Right.
But the framework is there, and I actually offer 2, and I do a walkthrough video. So if I could just touch on that for a second, because this will give people an idea. Now I worked with a coach as well, and she said, oh, before you do that, you need to do a pre-sale, which I'm going to talk about a pre-sale. Okay. The pre-sale the idea of the pre-sale is that you don't want to go out and create a product. So let's just say you're going to put something together, and it's going to be like 8 modules, and, you're going to have like a lot of downloads or tips and videos, and then you put it out there and nobody buys it because you just assumed that people wanted this product, but actually maybe you just thought they wanted it and they didn't want it. So the pre-sale, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more on how to do that, kind of make sure that you don't put all your hard effort into it and then nobody buys it. Yeah. So, but when my coach said that, and she said, you want to do a pre-sale first, I was like, no, it's an LOA. Like I know people need this. It's a 1-pager, but I offer 2, and I'm doing a walkthrough. Anyway, so she was like, and I was like, just trust me.
That's where you really knew your audience, though.
I really knew my audience.
Yes. Yeah.
I did. And, just to give people an idea, on that is, so actually to date, as of this morning, I put out this product in June of last year. And as of this morning, I sold my 100th LOA. And they're for sale for $47 US. I had them on initially for a little bit lower, because that's usually what you do in the pre-sale or for a promo period.
Right.
But yeah, so I've made, about $4,700 from that product. And I have a 30-day guarantee, Luann, for refund. Not one person has ever refunded any of my products.
That's good. That's a testament that you're creating good quality product.
Yeah. And that's another point that's really important. You don't just create something to be like, oh, I want to make money. I mean, it has to be something that's valuable. You have to put something into it to make sure that, this is what people want. Right. And that's why I do the walkthrough video with it as well, because that's an added bonus, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people are like, well, how do I talk my client through this? How do I walk them through it? Well, I show you, and I have a video. Right. So yeah, I've got a lot of great feedback from that. But it's more or less to take you from the initial consult to like doing design services, not for purchasing furniture. I mean, that's that's a whole that is a bigger contract. Yeah. I don't get involved in that, because it also going to depends how you run your business. Do you manage all the trades? Do you hire all the
right?
Do you order everything yourself, or so that's a whole different. This is just from taking you from the consult to to go ahead and putting together maybe some sort of a design package. Okay. Once they want to go forward and implement it, that's different. So you need to be very clear as well on what it is that you're offering, because people don't want to think that they're getting one thing and then be like, oh, right. I thought this was going to be a 10-page contract. And I'm like,
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Because you just lose your credibility. You lose your credibility. Yeah. And that can never come back and buy anything else from you. So that's right. Yeah. That's right. So, and then, if we can just talk for a second about the pre-sale. So people say, what's the pre-sale? Like I mentioned, what you do with a pre-sale is you have a template. So one of the steps that you want to do once you figure out, what it is that your audience are looking for, how you can help them, how you can benefit them in some way, you figure out what are you putting into this, right?
excuse me, what are you putting into the product? Are you going to have templates? Are you doing a walkthrough video? Are you having, a step-by-step, that sort of thing? Figure out what it is that's going into it, because you're going to want to figure out how much you should sell it for. And this here is it's something that you can play with maybe afterwards. I know, talking to Maria Killam, she's had her she has a couple books, and she said, they started at 57, then it went down to 24, then they tried it at 38, and she had it at a bunch of different prices. So there is no magic number here, right? You just try, and then you kind of land on something. And I did that even with my Video for Profits course, because I put so much. It was my first course that I launched. I put in so much blood, sweat, and tears, and it's 8 modules, and I have it up for regular was $497, and then the pre-sale was, I think it was $297 for the pre-sale, right? So I put up for that promo period. As of now, I brought it down. The regular price is $347. It was just too high. It was too high. I held my hands up. It was a little bit too high. I want it to be able. You also want people to be able to get it, right? You don't want to have it be too high that they're like, you know what, that's too much for me, right? And especially if it's kind of going to replace, in a way, if they're not going to go ahead and hire you for design services, if designers are thinking, well, I'm going to create something, then really creating something that's going to cost $1,000,
right?
They may think I might as well just hire you, right?
Yes, in real life, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. So it's finding a little bit of the sweet spot,
mm-hmm.
and what's going to work in terms of that. But then also, so you do your kind of promo period, and honestly, you have an idea in your head of how many you want to sell, at what price point. And the whole idea of the pre-sale is that you run it for 7 days, you run it for 10 days. You don't want to run it for too long, because then it it kind of loses its excitement, right? And then really from there, if you only sold 4 and you were hoping to sell 40, then you don't create it. That's the whole idea. Then you refund whoever has purchased it, right? I know it's a little bit of a tail between the legs, but at the end of the day, at least you haven't spent 80 hours creating something that you thought someone wanted, but they actually, maybe it wasn't really as good as you thought it was.
Right.
So do you see what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. The truth is, in podcasting circles, this is very often spoken about, is to go out and find out what they want, then put it, put the bullet points together, put the skull of it, the skeleton of it together, and know what it is. But really, it's the truth. You have to know that there's a market for it. And
for sure.
And then you have to temper that. You have to temper that based on the audience that you have too, because if you only have 40 people, but 4 of them want it, well, then I would say that that's a lot. That's a worthwhile thing to create. You know what I mean? Because we're not talking about creating, 10 module courses that are sold for $600. We're talking about creating, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Again, it can be whatever. You got to look at what the price point will be, what the value is that's in it, as we mentioned. But also, you bring up a very good point, Luann, in terms of, the other thing is you're only going to sell likely maybe to 1% or less of your audience. Right. So for example, when I did my Rock the Initial Consultation Processes package, that was my that was earlier this year, I think in February or March, and that's basically from the initial phone call to the right to the end of the initial consultation. All of my processes, all of my templates. It's again, no one's refunded it yet, right? I shouldn't say yet. No one's refunded it because it's so amazing. I know I'm plugging myself there, but
that's awesome. I love it.
Within it, I actually hired this is where we're going to talk too about having to invest a little bit, but I did hire an actress, and I actually show you an initial consultation. I come to the door. How do I take control? How do I deal with awkward situations? And I hired an actress to do that. So sometimes you're going to have to invest in, what it is that you're creating, depending on, how you want it to look and feel and what you're putting in it. But so for that, I had my pre-sale 1 week. I'm going to give some numbers here because I know people, also like to get the numbers.
Okay.
And I'm happy to share, because I think it's important. But yeah, so 1 week I had that going on pre-sale, and the regular price was $297. I had it at $197, and then pre-sale I sold 80. in 1 week.
Whoa.
So yeah, so if you do the math,
Nice.
that's pretty good. And then the other thing with that too is that what you can also do is if you have some other products, then when people go to put something in their cart, you can say, hey, by the way, you may also be interested in X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And and a lot of people then bought the LOA
The
and
LOA, right?
for profits, right?
I'll,
That sort of thing.
I'll take one of those.
I'll take one of those on here. Why not, right? Because I want to be fully organized and I want to know what I'm doing.
Right. Talk about the what went into making that Rock the Consult.
Yeah.
How many hours did it take you to do it, and how much?
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually wrote down some information. So in terms of hour, I didn't actually track the hours exactly, but I would say probably 60 to 80 hours I probably spent on that from start to.
That's the part, right? That's the part when we think, oh, it sold 80 and, pre-sale. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of money. But it was, 2 or 3 weeks of work, a regular work week. Well, one of mine or yours, but, probably 2 or 3 of most people's work week, 80 hours.
I know. I know. Work a lot.
That's it. But that's a lot. That's a lot of effort. That's a lot of organization. That's a lot of concentration. That's a lot of tweaking. And that's a lot of making sure it's just right.
It is for sure. And on top of that, the other thing, and I'm just guessing at that, I'm guessing it was, I don't think it was more than 80. Maybe it was 40 to 60. I'm not sure. But
I don't want to know, right?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. But it's
time
good.
clock.
It's good.
For a reason.
But the other thing to just remember that too is that I did also have to pay my web guy. So this is the other end of it. You're going to have, once you start selling products online, for me, I just like to hire people that I know can do the stuff because I don't want to waste my time trying to figure it out. You and I have these conversations about the back end and everything that needs to be done, and it's so frustrating. So I paid my guy. I paid him 4 hours, so he was about $700, for that. I did hire, that actress out, and then I had my camera guy who was helping me with camera, so I also invested, over, probably $1,200 to $1,300 in creating it of, out of pocket sort of money.
Right.
But again, I believed in it so much and I knew how valuable it was going to be that, that I had to do it. In fact, Darla Powell said to me one time, I love Darla.
I know.
She said to me one time in one of the groups or on my page, she said, I would love to be a fly on the wall at your initial consultation. I was like, well, actually, this is something that I've got, right? Because I don't think anyone's ever done this. I don't think anyone has ever done this. And you go through all the school and you get out and you don't know how to talk to a client. Right. You don't know how to answer those awkward questions of, how do I deal with your discount and, all that sort of stuff. So, but the point with that is yes, a lot of stuff does take time. Now, I just want to mention too, have you ever had Carla Aston on your show?
Yes. Love Carla.
Sure you have. Yes. So, Carla is really great. She has a good following, lovely blog, great writer.
Yep.
And she has on her website, and when we're going to go check it out, she sells like these guides. And what she's done is she's kind of put together advice that she's done on like, how to pick a backsplash or, how to, lay out the backsplash or, different things like that. And she was selling the guides. I don't know if they still are. They were maybe $3 to $5.
Right.
She was selling them for, Yes. But I mean, essentially from what I could make out, and Carla would obviously know this better, is it seems like what she did is she's taken, because it says like from blogs. So she's got such a great library of blogs that now she thought, well, hey, what if I package all the ones where I spoke about subway tile? And then I'm going to package it up and I'm going to sell that for $5. And, and again, you could think, well, why wouldn't you just go back and read the blogs? Well, why? When I can click this button and for $5, I'm going to download it and I have it in my hands.
Well,
and
that's
I can walk
the truth.
around the store with it.
Yes,
right?
if she said, oh, here's every blog post and every tip I've ever taught everybody on how to pick tile, and it's $150, people would be like, no, I'll just search your blog. Thank you very much. But everything I've ever written on how to pick tile is $5. $5. I'll take that. Yeah. And to our original first point, she has tremendous traffic coming to her site.
She does.
To sell something for $5 20 times a day is worth it. For, it adds up for her. Whereas the rest of us are getting, 5 people a week there. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. And that's another great point. So so for her selling it at a low price point, is as you say.
Right. But the thing is, the lesson is that if you are a designer and you do have a passion for blogging or vlogging, right?
Yeah.
And you're creating a library of information that you're giving away every single week on your website, you don't maybe look to monetize it day one, but you look at it a year or 18 months from now.
Yeah.
And now you look back and you say,
wow,
I've got a body of work here now, and I've got these 5 videos on this, and I've got these 6, blogs on that, whatever your mode of thing is. It's like on my website, the podcast, I have it in collections. I don't charge you to get it, but there's 320 some shows now. So
it's hard to go through all that.
if you just find the podcast now, you're sort of like, holy moly, like I don't even know where to start. And so we have on the website social media marketing, the things I learned listener version. This way, if you're specifically like, maybe you listen to this show, this sort of relates to marketing. Okay, what else is in this category? There's Kae Whitaker talking about marketing. There's Darla talking about Instagram. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it does make it easier for people. And so to your point is that Carla's at a position now where she has so much content that she can quantify it and put it in a single spot. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Right. So she's a great example of how she's taken that and I don't know how long it's taken her to create that, but as I said, she's already had it created. So again, if you've been doing something for a while, or even if you're just starting out, you can think, because in your blog you can also categorize, right? A lot of times you can say like related blog posts, that sort of thing, right? In YouTube you can create playlists, so I can create playlists of bathroom makeovers or before and after sort of thing, right?
Very good.
So I think that's really key in terms of making sure that you have if you can have a pre-sale if you think it's going to be worthwhile, because the other thing too is like I said, there is a back end to it. So you may spend, they say like 20% of the time creating the product, 80% of the time marketing the crap out of it, right? It's
like everything. It looks easy outside looking in. And it's not. It's, there she is. She's got these things that she sells. Oh, it's an LOA. Oh, that was easy to do. I could do that. Well, I don't know. Is it so easy? Because if it was so easy, why would 100 of them sold in last year?
Right.
Clearly, it's not so easy. You have to have a body of work that you are basing your LOA on. You have to have the expertise to put it together. And so it's the same when you flip it on its head, to not mistake that what so easily that your consumer client doesn't know, right? Like they don't know it.
I mean, how many of us leave a consultation and go like, we just got paid for that? Like I just got paid for, you just think like that was so easy, Like, I love the consultation. I know we've talked about this before. I would love to just do 3 a week, and then I'm done. Right. So think about that sort of thing. So it's a lot of, it's a lot to think about, but at the same time, we know so much more than we think we know.
Oh yeah. Right? Oh, absolutely.
Compared to the average homeowner, right?
No.
So you do need to have, people in place in the background, creating a lead page. If you want to do the video help sell things even more. So if you can I always try to do a video to talk about what it is that I've created and how it can help you and hit on those pain points. So again, that's huge. And that's what I say to people, even, for creating any sort of video, if you're going to have something that lives on your website, mention the pain points. Are you stressed? Are you overwhelmed? Are you spending so much time? Because that's everything that people are like, yes, I am stressed. Yes, I need you. I need to hire you. Yeah. Right. Where do I buy now? I need to hire you for 2 hours. Right.
That's it.
So that's the, that's the key with that. And then once you know that you've got a certain amount sold and you're happy with that, then the work now also continues to begin, because now you got to finish creating that product. Right. So then you finish creating it, and then you really want to leave yourself, Luann, like about a week, again, depending on how involved it is. I mean, if it's an LOA, that's one upload, that sort of thing. Right. But if you're having like a few videos and some modules and some downloads, if you get into that, depending on what kind of package you offer for your homeowner, then you're going to want to make sure you leave it at least a week to give it to your web guy so he can upload it all in the back end, because you're going to want to see it. You're going to want to see, because then I like to go in and go, okay, can I download it? How does this look? And I'll be honest, like that to me on launch day, once I've launched it, and now the date's come and gone, and there it goes, and everyone gets their email with their links. I just wait, because I know people are going to email going like, I didn't get my password, or I can't get access, and it's a nightmare, so.
Yeah.
And again, I think that that's even more of me just needing, learning more as I go,
Right.
and tightening up those. But again, you've got to be prepared for that. And yeah, but I mean, if the good thing is that at the end of the day is that, if you're going to be in this business for a long time, you're going to keep creating content on your blog like you should for your SEO, and you're going to keep seeing clients. You're going to build up that library. So eventually, some of those products that you created, like, say you start now and in 5 years, you're still selling a product. I mean, some of you may need to tweak and update, but if you're still selling it,
right,
and it's still relevant, right, then that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And you
It's
get
awesome.
100%, right? 100% of that you get.
That's right. That's the whole key, that you're earning the entire amount. Yeah.
That's the key, in my opinion. I mean, because then once you keep building, you get higher numbers like Laurel Byrne. Then yes, okay, let's start talking affiliates now, right? But,
right, exactly. Add that in. Right, exactly. So your Rock the Consult program that you sell, is it modules? Also, is that modules?
It's basically it's got three videos. One is me doing the initial phone call, so you actually see me talking on the phone and how I go through that whole process. Then it's a step-by-step. I'm sitting here by my fireplace, and I have a process flow chart that you download, then with all of the templates. So it's very easy to follow, and I tell you when I use it, how I use it. And then the other video from there is actually, now I'm in the consultation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's about an hour. I mean, I know consultations are 2 hours, but I give you some information. Also at the end of the video, I include 4 kind of awkward scenarios. So like, she asked me, what is it? Oh, I want to have my mother-in-law sit in on this, and she has a lot of opinions, and how, is that okay? Or, and you just like, how do I deal with that? How do you, because those are the kind of things where you're just like,
right,
how do you
right.
approach
Like,
that, right?
no.
No, right? But there are ways of dealing with it, and so I think the whole thing is just being able to see it, like just being able to see. And I work quite differently in terms of a lot of other designers. I don't project manage unless it's a custom decorating project. So for me, I do a lot of consultations, I do a lot of 3D concept designs, and I help clients pick their finishes, but unless it's a custom decorating project, then they go ahead, they can hire their own contractor, they can use my guy, they pay him directly, they order the products, I might help them spec it. So again, so it's just a different way of working, which is honestly like 95% stress-free, I feel, in my life, I have to say. Okay. That's just on the buy. So, but I still think so basically, just to touch on that, is I have people buying that course that have been in business, have just started their business, people that have been in it for a few years. And I've had a couple people email me saying they've been in business for over 10 to 20 years. And they're like, I can't believe how helpful this has been, because we all look at things differently, right?
Yeah, it's always so helpful to see how somebody else does something. And the truth is, if you're new in business, you might, purchase that course and do it exactly the same, or you might tweak it, or you might be in business 10 years and there could be that one thing you're like, I never realized that, or I never thought about that, and it just like unlocks the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I love it.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So, and then I was going to say, then the last thing that you want to make sure that you do is so afterwards you want to also create content based around what it is that you've put out there. So if you've got a guide, on backsplashes or how to choose paint color, or, then you start writing blogs, that also, very organically, right? Organically, and then you say, hey, by the way, if you're interested in learning more about how to lay out a subway tile, or what color grout to use, or the most popular paint colors right now, I have a guide for $20, $10, whatever. Here's the link, that sort of thing, right? And I did that in my video. I call it Make More Money. I was saying, well, who doesn't want to make more money? And I talk about the LOA in that, because if you manage your clients' expectations, which was all about the presentation I did with you at Window Works, which was fabulous.
Packed house.
Yes. Woot, woot. But yeah, so, so I mentioned, the LOA in there, because if you present your LOA, if you manage your clients' expectations, you let them know that you charge for your time. And I threw out some numbers, and I talked about, if only you charge an extra hour, a day, an hour a week. Like,
that was the most amazing exercise ever. That was the most, I mentioned that in my mastermind group. The couple of days later, I was just like, okay, seriously, Like you all have to hear this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was amazing. So what you said was you were expressing that, like, if you just take say your hourly rate as an interior designer, you're listening right now, you're charging $100 an hour just for easy numbers.
Yeah.
And what Claire expressed was the value of absolutely meticulously recording the amount of time that you spend on every single project. And she also shared that being an interior designer, you understand exactly what is the typical thing that many designers do. Okay, it's the end of the week. I'm going to bill my client for my hours, and I work 12 and a half hours on their project. I can't tell them it's 12 and a half hours. I'll tell them it was, 7, or I'll tell them it was 9.
Yeah.
And then you send an invoice for 9 hours instead of 12. And here was the rub that I liked is what I like is when a tip helps somebody at the very least, do better than they were doing before, even if they cannot visualize going all the way to where you are sitting expert and hindsight and knowing it works. And that's exactly what this illustrated. So the point you made was that if you are regularly sending an invoice out to a client that's 3 hours less than you really did, just put 1 more hour back. So if you're not ready to stand there and say, I work 12 hours, I'm going to bill 12 hours. If you thought you could say, all right, I work 12 hours, but I'm going to tell them 8. Write 9. Just write 9. We want you to write 12, by the way. That's
we do.
We do. That's the big advice.
Yes.
But the baby advice, the newbie advice, the I'm afraid to do it advice is just put 1 more hour on. And what you mentioned is that you're going to work 50 weeks this year, and you put 1 hour a week more on.
Yes.
Now you have to tell me how much it is. Is that $5,000? This is getting
that.
to be a joke on this show.
I know, I was listening.
But I love is that I never have a guest who actually can do it either.
So so if you charge, it's 5, so that's 5,000.
Right,
so
it's
5,000 per week, right?
Right. And even this is like a Disney vacation.
Yeah.
This is a Disney vacation. This is like, I'm going to take my whole family to Disney on just this 1 hour that I put back into this project every week.
Because you spent that time, right? You
should have put 3 hours in, right? But you put 1.
Yeah.
And then you said, and what if you did that 2 times a week? What if you either put the second hour in for the client instead of 3, instead of 1, but you put 2, or you had 2 clients and you really just put the 1 more hour? And we're not talking about adding an hour you didn't work. We're talking about when you're in the position of not being able to stand in space and charge the hours that you have worked.
Yeah. So what I was, sorry, I'll just say, sorry, Hannah, I just want to say, because what I find is that what we do a lot of times, we're sitting there at the laptop, right? When we're just like sitting down, it's the morning, you're like, oh, I'll just reply to my contractor. Oh, I got to call my electrician, or, oh, I got to call my workroom, and they've got to do this. And before you know it, you've worked 3 hours by, and you haven't billed anybody because you're like, well, I wasn't really working, So, so my big thing is also, if you feel like you're not going to charge, because maybe, you charge, I charge more for design time than I do for administration. And I do that because then I'm more likely to charge for admin. So we'll say 100, again, I just use the $100.
Right.
But then so if I'm driving, and if it takes me 20 minutes to drive to my tile place, and, 20 minutes to drive to my window place, and then half an hour back to my house, that's an hour of gas and my wear and tear on my car that a lot of designers aren't charging for.
Right.
If they're billing hourly. If you're in a package, then that's a little bit different.
Right.
But, you add that up. And I mean, if you could just charge even 1 hour extra, that's what I said, 1 hour extra a day.
Right. That was $100. The number.
That's what it was. 1 hour a day times 5 is 500 times 50. That's $25,000.
That's right. That's it.
Right?
I was just like, how many designers aren't earning $25,000 a year?
I know.
Let's go there. Okay. So you just put $25,000 onto your, like, if you learned $15,000 last year as a designer, next year you could earn $40,000.
Yeah.
I did that. My head snapped.
There you are. See, you're getting it. You're getting it. But it's true, right? So, anyway, so that is huge for
Mm-hmm.
me. In fact, I might even do a challenge in my entire design business strategies group, Luann, and challenge people to charge
Yes.
an extra hour a week that they should be charging. I mean, we're not talking also if you, as you say, if you're brand new and you're working on a chief architect and it's taken you 25 hours to do one bedroom. Okay, no,
No,
you're
right.
learning. It's a learning curve. But
Yes.
I mean, the amount of times that we spend, doing admin, doing travel, or resourcing something for a client, and you think, I'm just not going to charge for that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
are leaving a ton of money on the table. And the point is that when you have something like my letter of agreement, that you can actually, it says in there, this is how I charge in 15-minute increments. This is my fee for this. And you're managing their expectations. So they know,
Right.
okay, you know what, if I'm going to be calling her every other day, then she's charging me for that 15-minute call.
That's
so when
right.
when they get that bill, they're not like, oh, well, hang on, I didn't know you were going to charge us. Well, you did actually, because you signed my LOA. We talked about it in the meeting, da-da-da.
Right. Because that is the premise of almost anything. You can do almost anything you want as long as it's ethical, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have agreement with the other party before you do it. It's as simple as that. Because
Absolutely.
that's the time the person can say, well, I'm not going to charge you for I'm not going to pay you for every 15-minute phone call. And then the answer is, then don't call me.
Yeah, exactly. Don't text me.
If you call me, you're going to pay. I got news for you. This is
exactly.
how it goes.
This is how it goes. And you know what? I don't know if I have it here.
That right now. That's what we're doing. We're agreeing to that.
Yes. And you know what? And you know what I find? Like I've got my bill here from my accountant, because it's tax time, and she charged me, $400. We had discussions of various matters during the year, which included X, Y, and Z. That's $400.
That's right.
I didn't go, oh, I didn't know you were going to charge me. Yeah, I knew you were going to charge me, and I know you're not cheap. So that's, so I just paid her. Like, you know what I mean? So, and that's the other thing. I think if you're just upfront with people, you manage those expectations, then there shouldn't be any sort of surprises like that. As long as you're not, as we said, you're not gouging them and saying you spent 40 hours on something that actually took 10.
Right.
That's a little bit different. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
I love it. I think it's awesome. So I have to tell you, in the context of this conversation, what I have learned is not only the value of examining your knowledge base to see what knowledge do you have that you can quantify and put into a sellable product. Okay.
Yeah.
That I learned. Okay. I like that.
Okay.
But here's what I learned secondarily.
Right.
That I've heard of this rock the podcast, rock the consult.
Maybe that's something you could create.
Right. Right. Hey.
Right?
Hey.
Let's put that down.
That's what I need. One more thing to do.
I know.
But this rock the consult program that you sell and the LOA that you sell, what I've learned, I've heard of those before in our conversations. Okay.
Right.
But this is the first time that I'm really hearing more about what they are in detail and really feeling like I can see why you sell a lot of them and really want to just say that I like that, Claire. And I think that's amazing that you have available, and that if you're a newer designer, the fact that you have never had anybody ask for a refund, me not having seen either of these products right now, I'm going to just say based on my knowledge of you as a person and as a business person, and that combined with that, I would say that I think that I would totally encourage a new designer to go to your website and purchase these things. And we didn't have this conversation ahead of time. It's organically coming to me that these are two of the biggest things that new designers struggle with. And so the thing is, when I heard about the Rock the Consult before as a title, I was thinking of it in a different way. I was thinking of it in that process of having a phone call and having the consult, and what do you talk about on the consult? But what I just learned now was how you teach a designer in that Rock the Consult how to set up the expectations, how to set up the agreements. And that's worth the dollar bills right there. That's what are the things that I tell my client? I'm going to bill you for 15-minute phone calls in increments. I'm going to see that's what the new younger designers need to have clarity on, so that they can then send that invoice out, because when you're new and younger in business, it's hard. You're on the front line. Your client is peppering you with questions about design, and you're trying so hard to be poised and to be knowledgeable and to remember all the darn things you know about interior design, right?
Yes.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, like I know from coaching them for the last year, they're like, yeah, I forgot to mention that in the consult that she was going to have to pay if she texted me, or she was going to have to this. And I'm just like,
yeah,
gotta lock it down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so here you've already created it. So awesome. And they can get that at clairejefford.com.
Yes, for sure. And like I said, there's even all the templates. Like it's crazy. Like how you, and actually we talked to Sarah after. I got to get in touch with Sarah at my Doma, because her and I got to talk about it, because I think there's a lot of ways that they can help with this, you know, integrate the two together.
Awesome.
Right?
Love it. I love it when all my peeps play in the same thing.
Yeah, you know, so yeah. And then I just want to say, very last thing, is that after you've created those amazing products and people are buying them from you, get testimonials.
Yes, right.
Get testimonials, and then make sure that you add them to, you know, so underneath the products that I have, I'll have like a headshot of the designer and what they said.
Nice.
Right? And, you know, because if people are really happy with your product, they're not going to quibble about sending you something and going, yeah, this changed my life.
Right, exactly.
Or, you know, whatever. But, and those are always, and you know what, people read reviews. Reviews for hotels, restaurants, interior designers, they read those reviews. So
that's right. That's the truth.
Really important.
I love it. I love it, Claire. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me for the second time.
Yes. I'm really glad. It's you know, it's something to think about. Look, if you're new in business, I would say the thing is to create the content, whether you're going to do it by blog or by video. Create the content, create the free content, put it out there. Go back, listen to Kae Whitaker's episodes where you can learn how to take that and do an email sequence that builds your list. But you know, a year or 2 years down the road, then you've got a library of content there, and you can turn around and cull it and figure out what you can create from it and what you can monetize and how you can you know, serve your clients, right? That's what you're doing.
You're giving them an extra, you know, an extra serving of something.
That's right. That's it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me again, Luann. Love your green shirt, as always.
Of course.
I should have wore green, but you know, that's you. That's you.
That's it. My hashtag podcast green.
All right, my love.
All righty. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.